World War I, Weapons and Strategy. World War I, or the Great War, as it was called back then, was truly a different war that anyone had ever seen. It is perhaps the first war to occur in modern times, having businesses like the booming steel industry, the new car industry, and more at its disposal. That being said, today we're going to look at the top 5 new weapons and strategies of World War I. Number 1. The tank. World War I was not the war of movement that the British expected it to be. Soldiers end up bogged down in trenches, unable to cross the enemy trenches thanks to other new technological advances. In 1915, the Brits found an answer to their stalemate problem with the tank, with the British Mark I, and soon after, the French Renault FT. Now, it needs to be said the tank wasn't the big tread-in armored beasts we see today, or even in the Second World War. Really, the first tanks were glorified automobiles with treads. The treaded hunks of metal ran off small diesel or gas-burning combustion engines and were able to cross the rough terrain, making it a perfect solution to get the soldiers across the dreaded no-man's land. Number 2. The machine gun. The machine gun, while ridiculously primitive compared to even World War II standards, was a huge advancement for the war and changed it dramatically. Up until the invention of the machine gun in 1914, wars were fought with bolt-action or lever-action single-shot rifles. The machine gun was capable of sending 400 rounds downrange a minute, and this figure would double by the end of the war, not to mention the soon-to-come handheld machine guns. The first machine guns usually required 4 to 6 soldiers to operate, were very heavy on a tripod, and overheated easily. Nonetheless, it turned the battlefields of World War I into a truly dangerous place. These machine guns would later be mounted on aircraft as well, leading to the famous dogfight. Number 3. Trench warfare. With advancements like the tank and machine gun, we need to address what kind of war these inventions were being used in. Gone were the days of simple tactics, marching in lines like the Civil War or simulating. World War I was all about trench warfare, a series of ditches built by each team, moving across the countryside, and they fortified these trenches to prevent their own from being invaded. It was mostly a close combat type of warfare, but with the machine gun, it was inevitable. The space between the trenches, often known as no man's land, was barbed wired, had mines, and machine guns pointing down range at all times. Until the invention of the tank, these wars were pretty much standstills. Number 4. Poison gas. Poison gas was perhaps not a great invention, but a feared one. First implemented by Germany, the idea was to fill bombshells with frozen poison and drop them on enemies. This led to the production of the gas mask as well. Now, a common misconception is that Germany only used these weapons. In fact, chemical warfare was implemented by both sides during World War I, before they decided to put bans on it in the Geneva Convention after World War II. The gas most of the time proved to be too effective, not only killing all the soldiers they intended to, but killing their own soldiers. This was the beginning of the end, especially for Germany. This dreaded technology would be used by the Nazis to instill fear and death in those they oppressed. Number 5. Depth charges. We all know how the U.S. got involved in World War I, the sinking of multiple U.S. ships by German U-boats, submarines. Up until this invention, there wasn't too many ways to combat these underwater boats, making them reign supreme in the seas. However, in 1916, the British found the solution to the problem with the Type D depth charge. These rigged underwater explosives, when set up in minefields, made a death trap for any German U-boat, exploding if they came too close or touched the mines. Now, these technologies are only just an example of what went on, but perhaps the most influential. World War I was a technological turning point. The war would never be fought the same way after this. Thank you.